Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Florence Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, affectionately known as FOOF. My name is Sally Wantz. I'm going to start our service today to acknowledge that we stand on the traditional land of the first people of Florence, the Sayusla Indians, past, present, and future. And we honor with gratitude the land itself, as well as the confederated tribes of the Coos, Lower Umpqua, and Sayusla Indians. We're going to start this morning singing Spirit of Life. I'm going to invite two of you to come forward. I'm going to step off to the side. Spirit of Life. Anybody want to join us? Take it away, two of you.
Thank you, Sally.
Woo!
Now, what do I do with my mask? It's like this. Okay.
You're too cute.
Oh, listen, it's a beautiful Sunday morning.
Yes.
It's good to be here with
Yes.
you.
Yes.
The Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me, come to me, come to me.
Yay! All right. Again, welcome everybody. So I have a few announcements. First, I would like to acknowledge the City of Florence. Through a program for their personal protective equipment, commonly known as PPE, they have received countless sanitizery kinds of things. And FOOF applied to receive some of these for free because we're a nonprofit. And we received cans of disinfectant spray, okay? So we can continue to keep our fellowship safe. We are all masked and we are socially distanced. I'm joined today with Xana, we've got Rayma, we've got Tuva, and we have Jay on camera. So welcome everybody today, welcome, welcome, welcome. I want to say that tonight's Zoom call at 5 o'clock is hosted by me, yay! And Dean Shrock will be with us, and he wants everyone to share the answer to his question. What's important? What's essential for you right now? So this goes in harmony with his talk today, and you'll see that as you hear that later. So come to the gathering at 5 and let's share our stories, shall we? Next week we are delighted to have Reverend Ruth Miller with us. Her talk next week will be titled Our Story, Our Life. And then also, I'm just reminded that today's Sunday is May 2nd, and it's called Recycling Take Back. So if you have recyclables, I think it's numbers 2, 4, and 5, 1 and 5, 6, 7, 9, whatever they are, there's a website listed on the e-newsletter today. I want you to check it out. Bring your recyclables clean and dry to the Sayusla Middle School today, Sunday. 11 to 12 will be for the elderly and disabled. And then from noon to 2 will be open to the general public. And I will be working there, and I will be watching for you. So come visit and bring your recycling and feel really good about keeping our planet healthy and recycling all that nasty stuff. So are there any other announcements from anybody? Anybody else? Any other announcements? Okay, I think we're done then. I'm going to invite Rayma to come forward. We're going to light our flame, as you might want to light your flame at home. These words come from Charles Flagg, and I believe these fit nicely with today's program about new beginnings. Every endeavor begins with a first step. and may encounter darkness and difficulty along the way. The darkness of ignorance, of fear, and of tyranny. Yet we know the dawning of the light, the beginnings of hope, and the renewal of life. Blessed be the eternal power which inspires us to kindle our lights. Let us honor the source of light and of life. Blessed be. I invite Xana to come on up and share our joys and concerns, and she'll introduce our opening hymn as well. Xana?
Thank you. Do this the right way. Okay, joys and concerns. As noted by Scott Phillips from one of our sister congregations, ours is a welcoming community where we find connection. A spiritual community where we find meaning. It's a sharing community where our joys are amplified, and a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. We reflect on this as we hold each other in our minds and in our hearts, in our intention for the very best possible outcome in all we are living through. That's for sure. So be it.
Can I drop a shell for that?
Please drop a
I'll
shell
drop
for
a
that.
shell for that.
That's awesome. So, I believe Sally has a concern. We'll start with you.
Actually, it's a...
A sorrow.
It is. It's with great sorrow that I share with you the passing of Judy Preisler. You may recall she was diagnosed with lung cancer about a month and a half ago or so, and she went very, very quickly, and it just breaks my heart. So our thoughts go out to Ron Preisler. He was a former, still is, a foofer at heart, and he's, I think, going to be having a celebration of life here in this building in the not too distant future. It'll be a small event, I'm sure, for family and immediate friends and immediate family, but our thoughts go out to Ron. So I dropped this to the Preisler family. I also recently learned that a good friend of mine, Jimmy Hart, local guy, passed away suddenly on Tuesday. So it's just, I don't know, aging ain't for the faint at heart, is it? It's
Sure.
just, we lose so many people, and this is for Jimmy. God bless him and his family. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally. And I have a couple of things. One of them is, I'm going to say the concern first, but that's for our community. We were doing so well, weren't we? And now we have to go kind of into a lockdown phase again. And I just feel like everyone has been so patient and so concerned in doing the right thing, and still we have to do this again. I want to applaud all of our small businesses, our restaurants, everyone who has stepped up and done the outdoor seating. They're expanding that, they're doing the takeout, we're everything we can to keep the community safe. And I know everyone is impatient, I know I am, especially with the weather clearing up and being beautiful outside. So let's send our good thoughts, good intentions to our community and a shell for the entire community so we can finally get through this. It's looking good because the rest of the country is having some very good results. So we're going to hang in there, right?
This is for that, yes.
All right.
Yes.
I have a personal joy I'd like to share. My 25-year-old granddaughter in Missoula, Montana is this weekend graduating from the university up there.
All right.
And I'm like, yes, great. And we talk a lot because we have bonded over the years in a very special way, and we've helped her. Her papa and I have helped her and encouraged her the whole way. Hang in there, you can do this.
Yeah.
Working full-time, going to school online, and then she FaceTimes me and shows me the ultrasound, is that what they do?
Yeah.
Yeah, also going to have her first child in September. So anyway, it's a great joy, and I was going to be there, but they had limited tickets because of, you know, the limited seating, and I said, no, let the parents, others go, and they're gonna live stream it, so I'll get to watch it that way. And she and her fiance are coming to see me in June next month, so I'm delighted.
What's her name?
Her name is Carissa.
Hello, Carissa, for you.
And I've told her all along, you will never ever regret getting your degree. I don't care what it's in.
Yeah.
Hers is in forensic anthropology. She wants to be one of those CSI people, you know, that cuts bodies open.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. Somebody wants to do that because it wouldn't be me. Okay. So we will drop a final shell for all of those who we don't know about, or haven't been mentioned, who have a concern, have a sorrow, and have a joy. We want you to know that we are here for you. And even though we're not in person with all of us, we will be soon, we hope. And in closing, I want to read something that was shared with our Power of 8 group, which has been quite wonderful. And Darlene shared this, and I just loved it, so I'd like to share it with you. It's from the 13th century poet, philosopher Rumi. The spirit is so near that you can't see it, but reach for it. Don't be a jar full of water whose rim is always dry. Don't be the rider who gallops all night and never sees the horse that is beneath him. Take someone who doesn't keep score, who's not looking to be richer or afraid of losing, who has not the slightest interest even in his own personality. He's free. When the world pushes you to your knees, you're in the perfect position to pray. Be full of sorrow that you may become a hill of joy. Weep that you may break into laughter. There is a voice that doesn't use words. Listen. In silence there is eloquence. Stop weaving and see how the pattern improves. I am not this hair, I am not this skin, I am the soul that lives within. If I love myself, I love you. If I love you, I love myself. Close your eyes, fall in love, stay there. I invite you to enjoy our opening hymn titled "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple," performed by Jeff Lovejoy. And again, keep everyone in mind, in your hearts, in your intentions, that's been mentioned today as we go forward. So be it.
Tis a gift to be simple, a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, we'll be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, bow and to bend, we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till we turning, we come round right. Tis a gift to be simple, a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, we'll be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, bow and to bend, we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till we turning, we come round right.
Thank you, Jeff. Beautiful music. And I look forward to other recordings that you are making for us that we can share virtually with everybody else. So applause to Jeff Lovejoy. Thank you very, very much. It's now my pleasure to introduce our guest at the pulpit. Although he's recorded this at the pleasure of his own home, it's Dean Shrock, who is going to share his thoughts on a title he calls A Time of New Beginnings. Enjoy.
Hi, it's nice to be with you again. The title of my talk today is A Time for New Beginnings. The FOOF theme for this month is story, and the FOOF Board of Directors recently met and discussed what they might want the FOOF's congregation story to be about how we came through the tough times of the pandemic. And so I meditated on this, and the first thing I got, I get these songs, was anytime it rains pennies from heaven. And it's like the idea that every cloud has a silver lining. What appears to be a negative is actually a positive or blessing in disguise. And then the next thing I got in that meditation was the idea of trust and a reminder that we are perfectly safe and loved and supported, and somehow everything, even though it may seem negative, all serves your soul's purpose. So how has the experience of the pandemic turned out to be a positive for you? This doesn't mean we ignore or dismiss the negative experiences, but it's usually the negative ones, it seems to me, that cause us to consider more of what we really do want. So how has the pandemic helped you to focus on what's important for you? I immediately think of our health. How has the pandemic been a positive? And so I ask you, how has the pandemic been a positive for you potentially regarding your health? Have you decided to do anything differently? Early research with the virus has concluded that the most at risk are people overweight and diabetic. And the key is always related to whether or not you have a healthy immune system. Have any of you begun practicing or changing how or what you eat? I know from my own study with wellness that eating more fruits and vegetables and eating less sugar and white flour are proven ways to build your immune system and prevent disease. How about exercise? Do you know that walking only 2 hours a week decreases the incidence of disease and increases the length and quality of your life? Just 2 hours a week. This immediately made me think of Deborah Jordan and her weekly FOOF hikes. With most of us now, or soon to be vaccinated, we can be more comfortable and safe gathering, walking and hiking and socializing once again. It's good news for me to know actually that indeed, starting in July, that FOOF is planning to reopen in-person services. And I'll actually be your first speaker. It will be great seeing you all again and being with you again. I also want to take this time to announce that I have reserved the date to complete last year's wellness seminar that had to be postponed because of the virus. So on Saturday, October 9th from 9 to 5, we'll review the first 4 classes in the morning and complete the classes in the afternoon. And then also on Saturday, November 13th from 9 to 5, I'll have a new workshop with information from my new book that will be available by then. And I'll share with you the many messages and information that's been given me about what we can do to enrich our lives post-pandemic. I'll send out an email, and I would guess also that FOOF in its monthly announcements will post these dates for all of us again so that you be that much more aware and hopefully put these in your calendar. Social support is very critical for our health and well-being, so getting together again is going to be very important and helpful. What I've discovered is that what's most important for people when they really stop to think about what really matters to them are their spiritual beliefs, their family, and their friends. So the reopening of FOOF, I say, is just what the doctor ordered. This pandemic has been very helpful to have people consider what really is essential. And so I'd like you to think about this now. And when we have our 5 o'clock Zoom meeting later today, we will have much more opportunity to talk about this, and I'll be glad to hear what you think. And when I've asked these and posed so many questions about how has this pandemic affected you. But one of the things, or numbers of things that come to mind right away when we think about what's really essential. And I know so many people talk about nurses, teachers, grocery clerks, waiters and waitresses. And one of the things that seems to always come up around that is that not only have we discovered how much they are truly needed and appreciated, but what about the idea of a minimum wage? Maybe this has caused some of you to think about the idea of raising the daily wage. What about libraries? What about community centers? What about churches? So many of these things that we've somehow, I don't think, appreciated as fully as we might, I think maybe have helped us think about how we want to make sure that we have these services and that they're appreciated. And in the case of some of these instances, like with nurses and teachers and grocery clerks, that they're properly compensated to make sure that we really do have these jobs always filled and with good people. Also, hopefully, it's been a time to get to know yourself better, actually, in so many ways. I want to cite a study here, though, that really got my attention. And you might not be surprised because it's about birds. You know how much I love birds and birdhouses. So anyhow, in a major quality of life survey with 26,000 adults from 26,000 countries in Europe, it concluded that a backyard full of birds, being in nature, seeing varieties of birds, created more life satisfaction than a $190 monthly raise. It said that nature, especially birds, have greater impact on mood than a 10% rise in or increase in income. The 10% rise in bird species was more important than a 10% increase in our wages, which I found very interesting. So, what I'd like you to think about then, more like my original question is, so how did you come through this pandemic? The study concluded with a reminder of the importance of the role of environment and not just material consumption, and how it plays such an important role in people's well-being. A literal quote from the study is, "The protection of natural landscapes is very worthwhile investment in human well-being." So, when we really think about, and I've done this for so long, help people think about their real interests, needs, and values, I really want to bring that up again for you, because hopefully we thought, done a lot more self-reflection during this time of the pandemic, and even with all the other chaos that went on in the past year. And maybe you have reflected on your priorities and what you can do to restructure your life. So a big question for me then has to do with, how did you come through this pandemic? And what has it caused you to think about and maybe want to make some changes? What do you want your post-pandemic story to be? I wrote in an introduction for the blurb for this talk today that spring is a time when the earth seems to come to life again. It brings thoughts of rebirth, rejuvenation, renewal, and regrowth. The new year itself is usually a time of reflection and resolutions when we refocus on what's important. Hopefully, it's a time of celebration and positive expectations for increased health and happiness. So I've given you lots of things to think about. And as I said, we can talk more about this on our Zoom meeting tonight. But I want to share with you a dream I had this morning. I asked last night before I went to sleep to have a dream that would contain information that I could use in my talk today. And I titled this dream, The Ability to Say No. Actually, I'm going to create a whole new chapter in my new book as a result of this dream and the information I got and the way it had meaning for me. So here's my dream. In my dream, I was at dinner with my sister and brother, and it was in what I want to call an old-fashioned setting, the way people were dressed or some of the decorations, just the ambiance of the place, including the woman who came to our table as the waitress and was very pleasant, honestly, but she was in an older-fashioned dress and manner, which was interesting. It just seemed like part of the theme of that restaurant. But after where there was certain introductions or kind of just, checking in with us, she asked if she could take my sister, if my sister would come with her, and then asked if my sister could order for us. And I remember, as I thought back on the dream, my brother and I both immediately said no. And that's what really made me stop to think about the ability to say no. In my 2 prior books, I've cited one major study in particular with AIDS, where they looked at patients who had actually done much better than the norm. And it's different than what we normally do. We actually usually look at people who are sick and try to figure out why they got sick. But in this case, looked at people who did better, and they wondered if there were anything more psychological or sociological rather than medical or biological that could have made the difference. And the only thing that stood out was the ability to say no, to refuse an unwanted favor. And so as I thought about my dream and maybe how it applies to us now in this talk, is maybe when we think about post-pandemic and moving on, there seems to be a lot of talk about going back to the way things used to be and just putting this pandemic behind us. But my question is that what we really want? To go back to the way things were? Maybe it's okay to say no. Maybe it's okay to make some changes and create a new story. So again, I've given you lots of things to think about, and I appreciate this opportunity to pose some of these questions, and now to invite you, to invite all of us in terms of creating a new story and what we can do with our lives at this time now and moving forward. So just one last question. What do you want your story of rebirth, renewal, and growth to be? Thanks. Hope I get to talk with many of you later today. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dean. It's always a pleasure to see you. I can hardly wait to see you in person. I think we're trying to open up the sanctuary for a live recording, hopefully live streaming for your program on July 4th, I think it is. So stay tuned, everybody. I look forward to seeing you at Zoom at 5 o'clock today, and I also look forward to your first Tuesday meditation, which is May 4th at 5:15. So the Zoom invite and the meditation invite are in the e-newsletter for anyone to participate. It's a wonderful way to connect. We invite you to both. At this time, I'm going to move into our offering. Each June, we gather for our annual meeting to elect new officers and directors, to approve our fiscal year budget, and to hear about all the great success we've had over the prior year. We also select a handful of community partners to support with your financial contributions. We have not supported the Friends of Florence van fans for many, many years. but they will receive your contributions starting today and through June. So, what is the Friends of Florence Van Fans? By a show of hands in this room, do you know about that organization?
Sort of.
Sort of? Okay. The Friends of Florence was established in 1985 with a single purpose of transporting cancer patients round trip to Eugene so they could get their treatments. It started after Florence resident P.T. Smith lost his beloved wife to cancer. During her fight, he saw a need for transportation from Florence to Eugene. The Florence Cancer Van, as it was affectionately known for many years, was first driven by P.T. Smith on May 1st, 1988. The program has transported over 30,000 riders to Eugene for treatment. As far as I know, the transportation is still available 5 days a week, 160 miles round trip, and there has never ever been any charge to anyone for this service. All the drivers are volunteers. The money we raise helps pay for the insurance, the van, the maintenance, and the gasoline. So you may contribute to the future of this essential mode of transportation for those who need cancer treatment in Eugene. And by the way, I've heard many stories from people who have said they have made new friends along the way riding that van. Is that true?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So in addition, we ask your consideration for donating to the future of this fellowship, affectionately known as FOOF. All donations and contributions to the Friends of Florence and/or FOOF can be mailed to us directly at P.O. Box 2502, Florence 97439, or you can click on the donate button on our website. Pretty easy. Just designate how much you want to go where, and we'll take care of the rest. So as we move forward with our offering, here at FOOF and in your home, please repeat after me. Divine love through me,
Divine love through me,
blesses and multiplies all that I am,
blesses and multiplies all that I am,
all that I give,
all that I give,
and all that I receive.
all that I receive.
I am prosperous now.
I am prosperous now.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.
We've come to the end here, and I invite Raymond to come on back. We're going to extinguish our flame in our candle up here, and you might want to do the same with yours at home. These words come from Brian Keeley. The chalice is now extinguished, but its light lives on in the minds and hearts and souls of each one of you. Carry that flame with you as you leave this place or your home, and share it with those you know, with those you love, and most especially with those you have yet to meet. Closing words. I share these from Michael Schuler, titled An Ending or Merely a Prelude to More Glorious Beginnings. We have reached the end of this time for the gathering of memory and for letting the imagination play with future possibilities. We have enjoyed magic moments and edified each other. Shall it be concluded then? Or will this adventure, now commenced, continue? Our separate paths converging, meeting, merging in the unending quest for love and more perfect, the joyous struggle for meaning more sufficient, and life more abundant. Is this ending to be an ending, or merely a prelude to a new, more glorious beginning? I pose this truth. In your heart lies the answer. I invite you all here and at home, if you want to sing along, just open the windows and make the neighbors wonder what you're up to. We're going to sing the peace song. Two of you, will you come forward? The peace song. Are we ready? Yes.
Let there be peace on earth.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you at Zoom gathering, 5 p.m. today. Have a great one.